Today's lesson we are going to look at Mathematics 15.1.1. The topic is complex numbers. Then we are going to look at how to express a fraction complex term to this form. Let us start. Let's say you are given this fraction and then the question says write this in this form. Now the first step that we need to do, we just focus on the denominator. After focusing on the denominator, we are going to determine or multiply this term using the conjugate complex number of this denominator. Or we normally say it's a complex conjugate of this denominator. Now, what is the complex conjugate of this denominator? Since between the two terms, between 1 and I, we have negative, the conjugate or the complex conjugate of this denominator, it will be like this. So what we are going to do, we are going to multiply the numerator with the complex conjugate and also multiply the denominator by the complex conjugate. Now we should understand that this is actually equals to 1. So we didn't change anything. The expression is still the same. We just multiplied this by 1, but that 1 we express it in terms of the conjugate of the denominator. So 1 plus I over 1 plus I is equals to 1. So you can see that the expression was not changed. We know that any term multiplied by 1, it's actually that term. And then from here, let us actually put brackets. So we know how to multiply a fraction and a fraction. Suppose we have these terms x over 2 multiplied by 1 over 2. Just going to multiply numerator, denominator, and denominator. X multiplied by 1 is x, over 2 multiplied by 2 is 4. So you're going to do the same thing. This multiplied by this multiplied by this. So we are going to have 2 plus 3i multiplied by 1 plus I all over 1 minus I multiplied by 1 plus I. From here we can distribute 2 multiplied by 1, we have 2, 2 multiplied by I, we have positive 2i, 3i multiplied by 1, we have positive 3i, and then 3i multiplied by I is equals to 3i squared all over. We know that when we distribute here, this is actually difference of two squares, so we can just say it's 1 squared minus I squared. Now complex numbers, we should know, or actually we know that I squared is actually equals to negative 1. So we can go ahead and now this and this are like terms. So 2i plus 3i, we are going to have 5i, and then plus 3, and then we can see that this is equals to negative 1 all over 1 squared is the same as 1 minus this, it's also negative 1. From here, 2 plus 5i, 3 multiplied by negative 1 is negative 3 over 1. This negative multiplied by this negative, we have positive 1. Then from there, these two are like terms. 2 minus 3 is negative 1. So we have negative 1 plus 5i over 2. And then we know that when we have two terms, they're all divided by a common denominator, we can split the two can express it like this. This is actually the same as this operation. When we have 2 over x plus 3 over x, this is the same as 2 plus 3 over x, which is equals to 5 over x. Now, looking at this, remember the question said we must express in terms of a plus bi. Now you can see that the value of a it's actually negative 1 over 2, and then the value of b is 5 over 2. So this is the answer. Now that you know how to answer this question, go ahead and pause the video and then do this one. Remember the question says we must write it in this form, and then play the video to verify your answer. Now we need the conjugate of the denominator, the complex conjugate. The complex conjugate will be 3 minus 4i. So it means we are going to multiply this by 3 minus 4i over 3 minus 4i. Then from here we are going to have 1 plus 2i, 3 minus 4i, all over 4, actually it's 3 plus 4i multiplied by 3 minus 4i. This will be equals to, when we distribute 1 multiplied by 3, we have 3, 1 multiplied by 4i, we have negative 4i. 2i multiplied by 3, we have positive 6i, and then 2i multiplied by negative 4i, we have negative 8i squared. 3 multiplied by 3 is 9, 3 multiplied by negative 4i is negative 12i, 4i multiplied by 3, we have 12i, and then 4 multiplied by negative 4i, we have negative 16i squared. Then this is equals to, we look at the like terms, we have 3, and then negative 4 plus 6 is positive 2i, and then minus 8, negative 1, all over 9. This negative 12 plus 12, actually negative 12i plus 12i, it's 0. Then we are left with 16, and then we have negative 1 here. Then from here we have 3 plus 2i, positive 8, all over 9 plus 16. 8 plus 3 is 11 plus 2i, all over 16 plus 9 is 25. Then from here we can split this into 2i over 25. Then this is the answer. I hope you got this one correct. Let us look at another example. Well, pause the video and work out this and play the video to see whether you understand and verify your answer. Now this one is a bit different. The first thing that we need to do, we need to get rid of the brackets. So we start by distributing 1 multiplied by 3. We are going to have 3, 1 and I, we have I. 2i multiplied by 3, we have 6i. 2i multiplied by I, we have 2i squared all over negative 2 plus I. Then this is equals to 3. We can see that these two are like terms. We actually have 1i plus 6i. We have 7i, and then plus 2. Remember that this is negative 1. Then negative 2 plus I. This is equals to 3 plus 7i minus 2 over negative 2 plus I. This is equals to 3 minus 2. We have 1 plus 7i over negative 2 plus I. So this is the fraction that we are going to use to find the answer. So looking at this, the conjugate is negative 2 minus I. Then we can go ahead and multiply this by the conjugate. This is equals to 1 plus 7i negative 2 minus I all over negative 2 plus I negative 2 minus I. From here, we distribute. We have negative 2, 1 multiplied by I, negative I, 7i multiplied by 2, we have negative 14i, 7i multiplied by negative I, we actually have negative 7i squared all over negative 2 multiplied by negative 2, it's 4. Negative 2 multiplied by I is positive 2i. I multiplied by negative 2, it's negative 2i. I multiplied by negative I, it's negative I squared. Negative 2, you can see that these are like terms. Negative I minus 14i, it's negative 15i minus 7, negative 1. 4, 2i minus 2i, it's 0, so we have negative. We know that I is equals to negative 1. From here, we have negative 2 minus 15i. Negative 7 multiplied by negative 1 is positive 7. All over 4 multiplied by negative 1 multiplied by negative 1 is positive 1. So from here we have negative 2 plus 7 is positive 5 minus 15i over 5. So we have 5 over 5 minus 15i over 5. So we know that 5 over 5 is equals to 1 minus 15 over 5 is 3i. I hope you got this answer. Now that's it for this lesson video. This is Bahula SJ. Thank you very much.